In a small village, a severe drought had taken hold. For months, not a single drop of rain had fallen. The fields were parched and cracked, crops had withered, and a famine-like situation had spread like wildfire. People were starving with barely enough food to survive. Among them was a poor but determined young man named Mohan. He had grown weary of the endless, fruitless search for work in his desolate village. Every day was a struggle, and hope was a luxury he could no longer afford. One morning, as the sun beat down on the barren land, Mohan made a life-changing decision. He thought to himself, "There's nothing left for me. Here it's not right to just stay and wither away. I must go to another village, somewhere, anywhere, in search of work." With that resolve, he packed a small bundle with his meager belongings and began his journey, leaving behind the only home he had ever known. He walked for miles under the scorching sun, his feet aching and his stomach empty. Finally, he reached a village called Shivnagar. It seemed more prosperous, with greener fields and bustling activity. But for Mohan, it was a strange new world. He had no relatives, no friends, and nowhere to lay his head for the night. Exhausted and feeling utterly helpless, he wandered through the streets until he came upon the large house of a rich cattle owner named Hariram Sahu. Gathering his courage, Mohan approached the man who was sitting on his porch. "Sahuji Mohan," began his voice, raspy from thirst, "I have come from a nearby village. There is a terrible famine there and no work to be found. If you could give me any kind of work, I would be forever grateful." Hariram Sahu looked at the young, dusty man standing before him. He sized him up and replied, "There is work, yes, but it is very hard. Are you sure you will be able to do it?" Mohan's eyes lit up with a flicker of hope. "Whatever work you give me, sir, I promise I will do it with all my honesty and with my full effort." Hariram Sahu considered this for a moment. "All right," he said, "I have 40 cows and 40 buffaloes. Your job would be to clean the shed every single day and make sure they are all fed and have water. At the end of each month, I will pay you 200 rupees, and you will also get your meals. Do you agree to these terms?" Mohan thought for a moment. It was hard work, but it was work. It was a chance. "Yes, Sahuji," he said firmly, "I will do this work. If you would allow it, may I stay here in the cowshed? I have nowhere else to go." Hariram Sahu looked him over from head to toe once more, then nodded slowly. "All right," he said, "you may stay in the cowshed." From that day on, Mohan's life found a new rhythm. He would wake up before the sun, long before anyone else in the household was stirring. His first task was always to the animal shed, making sure it was spotless. Then he would meticulously feed and water each of the 80 animals, treating them with. He never shirked his duties or took a shortcut. He poured his heart and soul into the work, finding a sense of purpose in his daily routine. He was honest and diligent, and his hard work did not go unnoticed. After a few months had passed, Hariram Sahu called Mohan aside. He had a pleased look on his face. "Mohan," he said, "I've been watching. You work very hard, and you care for the animals as if they were your own. Because of your dedication, the milk production has increased significantly. I am very impressed." Mohan listened, humbly, not sure what to expect. "So Sahuji continued with a smile, from today onwards, I am doubling your salary. It will be 400 rupees." Mohan's heart leaped with joy. He couldn't believe it. He thanked Hariram Sahu profusely, his spirit soaring. This was more money than he had ever dreamed of earning. Years passed, and Mohan continued his diligent work. He lived simply and saved every rupee he could. His small savings began to grow into a respectable sum. Eventually, he had saved enough money to build a small, modest hut for himself on the edge of the village. It wasn't much, but it was his own. For the first time in his life, he had a place to call home. He was proud of what he had achieved through his own sweat and honesty. One day, however, a wave of worry began to trouble him. He went to his employer, Hariram Sahu, with a concerned expression. "Sahuji," he said, "I am getting worried. There has been a lot of theft in the village lately. I have some savings. Now all my hard-earned money, and I'm afraid to keep it in my small hut." Hariram Sahu listened sympathetically and thought for a moment. "I understand your fear, Mohan," he said. "The landlord of this village, Raghuveer, is an incredibly wealthy man. His house is like a fortress with guards posted day and night. He is the safest bet. You can keep your money with him." Trusting his employer's advice, Mohan decided this was the best course of action. He went to the grand mansion of the landlord, Raghuveer. He found the landlord holding court in his lavish courtyard. Mohan approached him timidly. "Sir," he began, "my name is Mohan. I have saved 5,800 rupees through years of hard work. I am afraid to keep it at my humble home. Could I please ask you to keep it safely for me?" Raghuveer looked down at the simple man before him, a faint, unreadable smile on his lips. "Of course, my good man, don't you worry at all. Your money will be completely safe with me. Consider it locked in my own vault." Relieved, Mohan handed over his entire life savings to the landlord, feeling a great weight lift from his shoulders. 2 more years went by. Mohan continued to work hard, and with the security of his savings gone from his mind, he started dreaming of the future. He decided he wanted to buy a small plot of land to farm, to finally be his own master. The time had come to retrieve his money. He went back to the landlord, Raghuveer's mansion, feeling hopeful and excited. He found the landlord once again relaxing in his courtyard. "Sir," Mohan said politely, "I have come to take back the 5,800 rupees I gave you for safekeeping." Raghuveer looked at him with a blank expression. He squinted his eyes, as if trying to place him. "Who are you?" he asked dismissively. "I have never seen you before in my life, and I certainly never took any money from you. You must be mistaken." Mohan's heart sank. "No, sir, please. You must remember, I gave you my life savings," Mohan begged and pleaded, his voice filled with desperation. But the landlord was unmoved. His face turned cold and hard. Finally, losing his patience, Raghuveer shouted for his men. "Get this liar out of my sight," he ordered. The guards grabbed Mohan and, without a second thought, began to beat him mercilessly before throwing him out onto the street. Mohan dragged his bruised and battered body back to his small hut. Every bone ached, but the pain in his heart was far worse. He had been robbed, not by a common thief in the night, but by the very man who was supposed to be the most trustworthy person in the village. He had lost everything: his years of toil, his dreams of a better future, all snatched away by a cruel and powerful man. Mohan lay in his hut, broken and defeated, tears of injustice streaming down his face. What could a poor, simple man like him do against the powerful landlord Raghuveer? The hope that had carried him so far had been extinguished, leaving only darkness and despair. His journey, which had started with such promise, had led him to this devastating end. Or had it? Little did he know, his story was not over yet.